Hello friends, I welcome you to my channel. Today we will discuss a very interesting story, full of excitement and learning. Let us begin without any further delay. In 2006, yoga teacher Baba Ramdev and his close colleague Acharya Balkrishna started a small company in Haridwar to turn that promise into products. The idea was clear even if the plan was not fancy. Take Ayurveda out of textbooks and television shows and put it into the morning routine of millions, on the shelf beside the toothpaste, in the hair oil bottle, in the kitchen masala box. Balkrishna would build and run the company. Ramdev would be the voice and face who could turn crowded grounds into demand. The firm was named Patanjali Ayurveda, a nod to the ancient sage, but the ambition was modern: build a national FMCG brand from North India's spiritual heartland. In the early years, the products felt homely: Dantkanti toothpaste, Keshkanti shampoo, herbal juices, Chyawanprash, biscuits, atta, ghee. The pricing sat slightly below big multinationals. The pitch, natural and Indian, sat well above them in people's minds. Distribution grew in a very Indian way: company-owned stores near temples, counters at local kiranas, shelves in modern trade, and eventually a presence on e-commerce. A buyer who liked Ramdev's yoga shows found the same brand on the toothpaste cap. The line between belief and basket got shorter. Then came scale. By the mid-2010s, Patanjali went from newcomer to headline. The company's growth put real pressure on long-set habits in categories like toothpaste and ghee, and big rivals had to answer a new kind of challenger, one that didn't speak in slick English but in plain Hindi and price. Not every year was perfect, and some years were bumpy, but the drift of the story was up. Patanjali had become a name people could pronounce and also find in their neighborhood shop. When the brand entered noodles and ready foods, when it opened a clothing venture for a while, the core still held: a wide shelf of desi daily goods at a friendly price. The most important strategic turn arrived from the pantry, not the puja room. In 2019, Patanjali acquired the bankrupt edible oil giant Ruchi Soya, a company with massive plants and a familiar label in Indian kitchens. In 2022, the name changed to Patanjali Foods Limited, and the edible oils engine became the group's listed, industrial backbone. In one move, Patanjali went from being a fast-growing Ayurvedic FMCG upstart to a food oil heavyweight with national manufacturing and sourcing. The deal also gave the group a public market window to raise money and to bring discipline to a sprawling house of brands. Reuters. If you listen closely, you can hear the company's strategy in those decisions. First, make trust feel local. The packaging says herbal, the voice is familiar, the language is yours, and the price respects your wallet. Second, be everywhere the everyday is. From ashrams to kiranas to big bazaar aisles to online carts, Patanjali followed how India shops. Third, own more of the stack. Instead of depending only on contract manufacturers, the group leaned into factories, food parks, and then a full edible oil platform through Patanjali Foods. Fourth, wear many hats, but keep one head. Whether toothpaste or ghee, the brand speaks the same sentence: natural, affordable, Indian. The numbers anchor the tale. Patanjali Foods reported total income of roughly 31,962 crore in FY24 and then stepped up again in FY25, crossing 34,000 crore in consolidated revenue, with edible oils still the big, steady engine and the food/FMCG mix trying to grow its share inside that big pie. Quarter after quarter through late 2024 and early 2025, Reuters and company filings showed oils contributing the lion's share of revenue, with profits swinging up when commodity costs behaved. These are not just accounting lines, they are clues to where the group's weight sits today: heavy in oils, lighter but growing in packaged foods and personal care. Patanjali Foods, exchange for media. Reuters. Patanjali Ayurveda, the unlisted consumer arm that makes the everyday FMCG items under the Patanjali badge, also had a stronger FY24. public filings reported total income rising to 9,335 crore that year, helped in part by other income and group transactions. It reminded observers that the original Haridwar business was still significant on its own, not only as a brand riding on the listed oils company. Business Standard, etretail.com. But every Indian growth story has its test, and Patanjali came in the bright light of the Supreme Court. From 2022 into 2024, India's top court examined complaints that some Patanjali ads made sweeping medical claims and disparaged modern medicine. In February 2024, the court temporarily barred certain advertisements, and the company was asked to explain why it shouldn't face contempt. Apologies followed in national newspapers. In August 2024, the Supreme Court closed the contempt proceedings after accepting the apologies, but added a clear warning to avoid any repeat. For a brand built on trust and health, the legal glare was both a bruise and a lesson. Compliance and care in communication are not side jobs, they are central to the product. Reuters, www.ntv.com. There were other bumps. A few years earlier, quality scares around specific products drew headlines and withdrawals from certain retail channels. Even if such episodes were limited, they reminded buyers that natural still has to be safe, and that scale cannot outrun standards. And around 2018 to 2019, industry reports showed the company's once explosive sales cooling, especially in urban India, as rivals matched products and modern trade recalibrated shelf space. That stumble became a quiet reset, fewer experiments, sharper focus on core lines, and a push to rebuild confidence store by store. Money control. If you squint a little, you can read a SWOT analysis woven into these scenes. The strengths are the ones you can touch, a brand that millions recognize and trust to be desi and natural, wide distribution that reaches deep into small towns, and a product range that sits in both the mandir and the masala dabba. Add a big factory footprint and, through Patanjali Foods, a listed engine that throws off cash when oil cycles are friendly. The weaknesses are structural: thin margins where the price promise is aggressive, dependence on commodity swings in oils, and the reputational risk that comes when a health-anchored brand is accused of overpromising. The opportunities sit close to the core: healthier packaged foods, simple nutrition, Ayush-aligned personal care with strong science, and software-like discipline in quality that can make Ayurvedic also mean evidence-backed. And the threats are all around: multinationals learning to speak natural in fluent Hindi, regional players that copy fast and price lower, and regulators who will keep the magnifying glass on health claims and labeling. Strategy, in practice, is how a company answers those four boxes. Patanjali's answer has been to narrow the center and widen the ring. The center is a handful of hero categories: oral care, ghee, staples, basic personal care, that must always be fresh on shelves and strong in quality tests. The ring is a set of adjacencies: breakfast cereals with fewer additives, ready mixes that feel familiar, Ayurvedic OTC that is careful in labeling, and a steadier expansion of foods within Patanjali Foods so the pie is less dependent on oil cycles. The group has also moved its legal and financial center of gravity back to India, raised capital, and spoken openly about listing more units over time, a sign that the brand wants to live under public market discipline rather than only under halo. Reuters. Challenges keep the story honest. Monetization in lower-priced categories is a long walk. The brand's promise is value, not premium. Quality is a never-ending investment. Small lapses become front-page news when your promise is health. Supply chain is both strength and strain. Indian food and personal care are detail-heavy businesses where humidity, transport, and shelf life matter as much as marketing. Communication must be careful. A single careless line in an ad can undo months of field work. And competition never stops. When incumbents launch Ayurvedic sub-brands and newer players chase your rural markets, the moat is built in thousands of shopkeeper relationships, not in one celebrity endorsement. Still, the company's ability to correct course has been part of its character. When courts asked for restraint, Patanjali apologized and adjusted. When oils took the spotlight, the group used the listed platform to clean up structure and report. When growth cooled in cities, the brand doubled down on the stores and SKUs that actually turn daily. Patanjali's strongest habit may be something very undramatic. It keeps showing up in the small places, the Kirana counter, the Mandir Bazaar, the weekly hart, and keeps the price reachable for the middle family that counts both rupees and rituals. A few key stats fix the story in time. 2006, Patanjali Ayurveda is founded by Ramdev and Balkrishna. 2019, the group acquires Ruchi Soya. 2022, it is renamed Patanjali Foods. FY24, Patanjali Foods reports around 31,962 crore total income. FY25, consolidated revenue crosses 34,000 crore as per company and media summaries. FY24, Patanjali Ayurveda's total income rises to about 9,335 crore. February 2024, the Supreme Court bars certain ads. August 2024, the court closes contempt proceedings after accepting apologies, with a stern warning. Each date is a marker. Together, they show a brand moving from ashram scale to national scale while learning the rules of the larger stage. Patanjali Foods, Exchange for Media, Business Standard, etretail.com, Reuters, www.ntv.com. What should a young founder or business student take from this journey? First, speak the customer's language, not just Hindi or English, but the values and price that matter in a home. Patanjali did not sell exotica, it sold familiar things with a clearer story. Second, distribution is destiny. Ads can make a promise, only a stocked shelf keeps it. Third, own a backbone. Acquiring and building manufacturing through Patanjali Foods gave the group control over supply and a platform for capital. Boring, yes. Vital, absolutely. Fourth, brand is behavior. If your promise is health, your advertising and quality must look like restraint and rigor, not just enthusiasm. The Supreme Court chapter was a hard teacher, but a necessary one. Fifth, let the core pay for the bets. Oils fund foods, foods strengthen the brand opens doors for personal care, each ring keeps the center funded. Picture a single day to close the circle. A shopkeeper in Bareilly slides open his shutter and hangs a small Patanjali board. He knows he will sell 3 Dankanti tubes before lunch because he always does. A mother in Bhuj checks the ghee tin, weighs price against trust, and chooses the purple gold label she knows. A commuter in Pune buys a simple Ayurvedic tablet for a cold, reading the pack to confirm what it claims, and what it does not. In a Haridwar office, a team reviews a heat map of SKUs, green in staples, amber in shampoos, red in a couple of foods that need reformulation. A compliance leader reads an ad script line by line, crossing out every hint of a cure. In Mumbai, investors read Patanjali Foods' presentation and see a mix that is still heavy in oils but trying to shift toward foods and personal care. None of these people say SWOT out loud. They are simply living the boxes: strength in habit, weakness in thin margins, opportunity in adjacent categories, threat from rivals and rules. Patanjali Foods, the company that began as a bridge between Ayurveda and the supermarket, has grown into a house with 2 big pillars, a listed foods and oils engine and an FMCG brand that speaks softly but sells widely. Its strategy is not mystical: win trust at street level, show up in every aisle that matters, own enough of the supply to be reliable, and keep the promise of natural grounded in good science and careful words. Its challenges are familiar to any mass brand in India: quality every day, compliance every season, pricing that respects families, and communication that respects medicine. Its key stats tell you the house is large, its lessons tell you why it stands. If Patanjali keeps choosing restraint over noise, factories over only slogans, and proof over boast, then the Swadeshi story that started in 2006 may yet read, a decade from now, like a case study in how to turn faith into a reliable FMCG habit. The final test is simple to state and hard to pass: when a buyer reaches for a bar of soap or a spoon of ghee, the hand should move without doubt. If the brand can earn that unthinking motion again and again, the rest, the revenues, the market share, the listings, will follow in steady steps. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and press the bell icon. Please comment as to how this story. See you in the next video.